Hi everybody, it's John back again with another aircraft kit review. The model I'm reviewing today is a 1/72nd scale PM models issue of the Northrop F5B tandem 2-seat freedom fighter. And I know what you're looking at, you're saying that's a Pioneer 2 kit. Well, there's a reason for that. I'm not 100% sure, but PM Models I'm pretty sure stands for Pioneer Models, because a lot of Pioneer kits that were released in the very early 80s, late 70s have found their way into PM Models catalogue, and they're exactly the same kits. In actual fact, Pioneer in some cases is actually still marketed, but PM Models is the company that releases Pioneer Models through their reboxing. So I've got a feeling that either Pioneer Models is owned by PM or Pioneer Models is what PM stands for. This original kit was released in 1983 under the Pioneer 2 label. Series 3 model there, model 3003. Not quite sure what that means. It's probably just a catalogue number. But yeah. I know it's written in French all across the front and German, but Pioneer and PM Models are actually a Turkish company and they're manufactured in Turkey. The kit I'm actually doing a review on today is the 84 reboxed issue of the Pioneer kit under the PM Model stand, and this is PM 204. It's the same kit inside, but the Pioneer kit I believe is white plastic and the PM Model is grey. Then this kit was re-released in 1984 with this style of boxing. I'm not quite sure how long this style of boxing ran or whether it was concurrent with the other box. But it is again the same kit inside, and it has different decals inside this box. 5449 as opposed to 8592, which is the subject of the previous boxing. Lastly, the kit was released in 2003. This is just a reboxing of the original 1984. In actual fact, the 83 release is so close in boxing terms that the only difference, in my opinion, is that instead of having Northrop F5B Freedom Fighter written here, it just has Northrop and F5B written here. And along the bottom here, this piece of written information at the side here, at the bottom edge here, is slightly different printing and the font is smaller. There are also adverts on the side of this box which advertise the other kits that PM Models make. But on the kit I've got here, it's advertising just the F5 and T38. This box I'm sure advertises other kits, and including the Russian-Soviet Su-21 Flagon. So we'll just bring the camera here so you can see what's going on. There we go. This is a much smaller model to review. Yeah. There we go. This is the kit we're reviewing today. This is the PM model 1/72nd scale Northrop F5B. It has a picture of the Hellenic Air Force model, and the Turkish Air Force model is on the front. They're the two variants that are actually included with decals to build either one or the other. You just open the box, you can have a look inside, and try not to laugh, but this is what you get in a PM model. You have a rather poorly printed instruction leaflet, and I'm telling you, it's like looking at a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy. Yeah. The paint plan is quite vague as well. It's open to an awful lot of interpretation, but the Humbrol colours are there if you wanted to build either the Turkish or the Hellenic Air Force. The Humbrol colours are actually listed on the instruction leaflet, so the colours are covered. And the kit's instructions actually come in, it's one frame, but I would interpret that as 3 steps, where you build the fuselage and interior, and then you build the wings, tail, pennage and jet pipes, and then you put the tip tanks on and the undercarriage on the third section. The canopy goes on, I suppose, wherever you like, but I tend to put my canopies on pretty much just before you place the decals in place. The instructions are quite vague, I'll be honest with you. There are arrows going to where the parts locate, but there are no pilots. We'll talk about that in a minute. And the pilot seats go down to, well, the arrows indicate that they go down just into the fuselage, but I'm guessing they go down on location pins left and right. And again, it just says glue everything. I suppose that's probably true, isn't it? Yeah, so you've got a little bit of history and explanations and specs there on the aircraft on that page, and that's your full page colour plan. So the instructions, they're vague. They're vague and open to an awful lot of interpretation, but they are there. Right. I'll talk about this as quickly as possible because the kit, I'll be honest with you, the kit's not great. Right, you have a build key plan here with lots of tips on it, like cutting parts out, don't strip them off with your hands, strap parts with elastic bands, maybe tape, trim parts off with a knife, glue sparingly, not massive, not wastefully, sanding down parts. And this is very reminiscent of what you got with the frog kits, with the frog instructions. But on the back, you have virtually every kit that PM models produce on an advertising card. And I have got a couple of these models already in the stash waiting to be built. But I'm building this baby here, the F5B. I have actually built the F5A, but I didn't build it using the markings that were provided by PM, and this is the reason why. The PM markings, I'll just show them as clearly as I can there. These are up to the standard of what Airfix were producing in the 70s. The register's really crisp on them actually, considering, but they're thick and there's a lot of sheen on them, and they're going to produce an awful lot of sheen on the kit unless you gloss varnish the model before you apply them. And if my memory is right, they take forever to get off the decal sheet when you apply water to them and put them in water. So that's the decals there. You've got the Hellenic Air Force markings here, and they're the tail fin flashes, and you've got the Turkish Air Force here, and these decals are common to both. So that's your decal sheet. Canopy. Dare I even put it in front of the video? My God. This is the canopy for this kit. It's thick. It has so much distortion on it, it doesn't really matter that there's no detail inside the fuselage, because you probably won't see an awful lot of it through that. And the other thing I think that's quite interesting is it's a little bit hazy. Can you see? It's not that fantastically clear, is it? It's almost like somebody's shot blasted it before they built it. But sorry, after they finished building it. And there's quite a bit of flash here. If you can see, can you see the flash there? That's going to need to be removed and trimmed and prepared properly before you actually paint the kit. There are two different grey plastic sprues in this kit, and this is something else that's interesting, because when I built the F5A, the plastic was all this dark grey colour, and this one has the parts for the F5B, the two-seat variant, and the plastic is actually a different colour. So I'm guessing that this is the only sprue that they have to build for the F5B, and they'll take the F5A parts out of the kit and replace them with this. That's quite useful, because it means this sprue will probably be made on a separate jig, and these two sprues will probably be made on a separate jig, but together. So you'll always have two kits with the right number of sprues made. We'll first go through this sprue here, because this is pretty awful. the kit is quite old, you know, it is quite old, but that put aside, it's no excuses for what you actually get. The wings and the tail planes are in one piece, and there are injection mouldings and injection fills and abnormalities in the plastic all over the shop. These parts are so bad that you couldn't build this and not paint it. You'll have to, I mean, there's a big massive, it's almost like a bloody barrel sticking out the bottom there, and there's a sinkhole with a big massive flash, and there's two massive flashes here, and if I turn this over, these two are crisp and dry, but look at it, the quality is just horrendous. The air intakes are, yeah, I'll talk about the air intakes when I go over the overall fit issues, and the wings, and well, everything really has to be talked about with the fit issues because there are so many. Yeah, we'll go, so that's basically the second sprue. The parts, yeah, they're not great, are they? They're pretty poor. The second sprue, which incorporates the 2C fuselage, bearing in mind this kit has no pilots, there is absolutely no detail in there whatsoever. It's so basic. It's going right back to Frog and Airfix days from the 60s. You have two seats which are there. Yeah, they're going right back to Airfix days of the 1960s. And the interior basically just consists of the shrouds for the instrument panels and the rear seat bulkhead. And that's basically it. So, I'll just quickly give you the, because I don't think this video is going to last much longer, I'll just quickly give you the technical data. The model itself is a PM Models Northrop F5B Freedom Fighter, and it's in 1/72nd scale, and it comprises of 28 grey plastic parts on 2 sprues and 1 transparency canopy, making 29 parts in total. Decals are for 2 versions, but they're not good decals for the Hellenic or Turkish Air Force. But they are usable. But again, I have to admit that you'll take 5 to 10 minutes to get them off the actual decal sheet when they're placed in water. The build issues: there are no interior, there's no pilots, it's got terrible fit and wing roots, needing copious amounts of filler and poor join lines around the back of the air intakes. I have built the F5A before, and I can categorically tell you that that is absolutely true. The wing root fit on this kit is so bad that you will probably use 1/4 of a tube of polyfiller, of model filler. But its accuracy in terms of outline is probably as good as any other F5 that you get from the early days, from like the 60s and 70s, the Airfix kits. It's no worse than that. The early Revell models, the Tamiya kits were very, very good. But as I said, the early release kits from Revell and Airfix, this kit is no worse than those. Retail price is about £9, but I have seen it offered second hand on places like eBay for as little as a couple of pounds. It makes it very, very good value. The overall impression I've got with this kit is that it's a very poor quality with bad fitting sections, especially the wings and the wing roots. But it's cheap and it's easy and fun to build. It's a good starter kit. If you've never built a kit before, you've only built a couple before, this kit is actually good fun to build. It builds very quickly. You can probably build this thing in half an hour. You can build this kit and come up with a reasonable finish and a reasonable product at the end of the day in, I would say, easily a day or maybe 2 at the most. Good value for money, but if you buy it new, not very good value for money because it's about £9. I've seen it as high as £9.99 or £12. Yeah, so as I said, if you want to build an F5, it's not a bad option in terms of you know, what else is on the market. But if you want to build a nice F5 model, go for something like Taleri, something like the Airfix F5E Tiger 2 is a really good kit too, and also Tamiya's model of the F5 is really good. Some of these Chinese kits are good too, so look out for those too. But that's the PM Models Northrop F5B. Hope this video has been of use, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.